Right now at 4, here's a look at some of the top stories we are following today.
While we are staying dry for now, we are looking at some possibilities of severe weather as we head into your weekend. Coming up, we are going to talk more about the timing as well as those threats that you need to be on the lookout for over your weekend.
And with the incoming storm system, local officials are stressing the importance of having a weather radio. A deadly house fire claims the life of one person. What we know about the victim and the possible cause. The vice president makes a trip to Greenland as President Donald Trump presses for the U.S. to take over the island. We have the latest on that visit.
Live, local, late breaking. This is 44 News at 4.
First at this hour, a Storm Team 44 weather alert. Warm and dry conditions out there right now, but we are bracing for a very active weekend ahead. Now, this is the system we have been telling you about all week, and you need to be weather aware this weekend. Storm Team 44 Chief Meteorologist Griffin Glasscock is here tracking what we can expect. Griffin?
All right, Elegant. So as we do move into this weekend, we do have maybe lots of plans. We do need to make sure that we have a way to get watches and warnings. Make sure that we've got that severe safety plan in place because we do have that potential of severe weather primarily coming in on Sunday, likely later in the day Sunday and through the evening. Possibly some of those could linger into the overnight hours, but all modes of severe weather are possible, damaging winds, hail, and tornadoes. So that's why it is so important that you do have a way to get those watches and warnings and you do have that safety plan in place. Right now we are seeing dry skies, maybe a few sprinkles out there that may pop up in our skies. I know we're starting to see more cloud cover across the tri-state, but you'll notice down to our south, we are actually tracking some rainfall that's going to try and push into our area, but it's not going to be anything overly heavy. In fact, we're likely going to see more scattered showers as we do approach the weekend. And then it's the back half of the weekend that we start to move in more active, severe weather. Downtown Owensboro, you can see the cloud cover is definitely more present. It's breezy out there. It is warm, folks. We have made it to 80 degrees here in Evansville, 78 in Santa Claus, same thing for Hartford. We're at 79 in Olney and 80 degrees in Ridgeway. So, I mean, it is warm out there. Winds are blustery, but whenever we get those winds coming in out of the south and west, I mean, it's almost just like a big blow dryer. It does feel warm out there, and a lot of times we do outperform the high temperature. Normally we do get above where we are projecting that high temperature, and we did that today. Winds coming in anywhere between 15 to about 25 miles per hour. Looking at the next several hours, we will stay primarily dry, but a few showers could possibly pop up. Temperatures are going to stay mild, but we've got more rainfall coming our way this weekend along with that severe weather threat. So coming up in your 7-day forecast, we're going to walk you through it hour by hour so you are squared away before we enter the weekend.
Thank you, Griffin. Now, the biggest thing that officials stress during severe weather is to have a plan. One of the things they say is most important is having a weather radio. Officials in Warwick County have handed out around 300 weather radios to residents in the last 2 weeks, and they have 210 more ready to be picked up. They say these radios are essential tools for staying informed about weather conditions and alerts. As we monitor those storms over the weekend, be sure to tune in to 44 News, or you can download our free Storm Team 44 weather app. Turning to our other top stories at this hour, an Evansville man who is working as a service provider has been charged with child molestation. Now, according to Washington police, officers and Department of Child Services responded to a report of sexual assault that had taken place at the Eastside Park. The investigation led to police arresting Jonathan Thomas. Police say Thomas was working as a service provider for the child victim, but the agency he worked for was not DCS. An investigation into a deadly house fire continues at this hour. We now know that one person has died following a fire at an Evansville home Thursday evening. Dispatch tells 44 News the call came in just before 6:30 on South St. James Boulevard. According to firefighters, the fire started in the basement near the person who passed away. At this hour, the victim's name has not been released. A broken ice cream machine at McDonald's resulted in the cops being called. Evansville police responded to the McDonald's off of Highway 41 near Morgan Avenue Wednesday night. At the scene, police say the manager told them David Gill had assaulted another employee. According to EPD, the manager had explained that the ice cream machine was broken and Gill was actually working on it. That's when the victim laughed at the incident because it is a common occurrence. Arrest records say that's when Gill became very angry, punching the other employee. The Hopkins County Sheriff's Office says a possible DUI driver was speeding when they wrecked a Tesla. Nortonville Fire Department responded to a wreck on Jesse Street and found a Tesla flipped and on fire. Firefighters deployed EV foam to put out the fire. Now, according to deputies, Donald Burns was speeding when he struck a small concrete bridge. Despite his injuries, deputies say Burns ran from the scene and got behind the wheel of a second vehicle where he crashed in Christian County. New at 4 in just 30 minutes, Henderson leaders will cut the ribbon to kick off the grand opening of the new sports complex. Now, this is a live look ahead of the ceremony right now. The celebration was slated to happen later on this weekend, but due to possible storms, officials moved the grand opening to today. The new complex is located on Airline Road in Henderson. There is 4 baseball fields and 1 multi-purpose field. And coming up at 5:30, there will be a city versus county softball game, as well as a UK basketball live stream on the new screen. New since noon, another grand opening underway today is the much-anticipated apartments on Market Street. Now, the building was originally built in 1919 as the Knights of Columbus building. It was restored in 2024 to provide affordable housing to the River City.
We were excited about partnering up with the city, bringing nice housing to the community right here downtown that makes it affordable and walkable for everybody.
Now, according to theapartments.com, rent starts at around $995.
A U.S. delegation travels to Greenland as President Trump pushes for a U.S. takeover of the territory. I'm Erica Brown at the White House with more on the visit and the president's talk with the Canadian Prime Minister as new tariffs loom.
And here's a live look from our 44 Skycam network at this hour. A very summer-like day across the tri-state, but it comes with a chance of rain and storms. Stay tuned for another check of the forecast after the break. New at 4, President Donald Trump was focused on America's northern allies Friday, dispatching key administration officials to Greenland while also talking with Canada's new prime minister about possible tariffs. Erica Brown has more details from the White House.
Vice President J.D. Vance and Second Lady Usha Vance arrived to sub-zero temperatures in Greenland Friday as they toured a U.S. Space Force base.
It's cold as here. Nobody told me.
The vice president's visit comes as President Trump pushes for a U.S. takeover of the semi-autonomous Danish territory. Greenland and Danish leaders have called the visit a provocation.
Our message to Denmark is very simple. You have not done a good job by the people of Greenland. That has to change. And because it hasn't changed, this is why President Trump's policy in Greenland is what it is.
President Trump wants greater access to Greenland's abundant mineral, oil, and natural gas wealth. And in the Oval Office Friday, he said the island is essential to U.S. national security.
We have to have Greenland. It's not a question of, do you think we can do without it? We can't.
President Trump has also pushed for Canada to join the U.S. as the 51st state. Friday, he spoke with Canada's new Prime Minister, Mark Carney, for the first time. Trump says he believes the U.S. and Canada can strike a fair trade deal, though Carney said Canada will implement retaliatory tariffs.
We had a very good talk, the Prime Minister and myself, and I think things are going to work out very well between Canada and the United States.
The president also announced he wants Congress to pass a law allowing Americans to write off the interest on new car purchases if the vehicles are built in America. Erica Brown, CBS News, the White House.
And now, Storm Team 44, powered by Bracket Heating, Air, and Plumbing.
Well, we've got lots to cover as we head into this weekend. We are going to start off a little rainy, and that comes our way late tonight and into tomorrow. Then as we approach Sunday, we've got some rain possibly throughout the day. But as we approach the back half of your Sunday and into Monday morning, we do have that severe weather threat, and then potentially another severe weather threat coming our way Wednesday. So we are definitely in the spring season, and this is not to scare you or alarm you, but we do have a lot coming our way as we do head into the next 7 days with 2 potential rounds of severe weather on Sunday and another one coming our way Wednesday. Right now, though, we are quiet right at 80 degrees. It is warm out there and it is breezy. Winds coming in out of the southwest at 17 miles per hour. Dew points aren't too high, but we're going to start to notice that 47 go on up into the 60s tomorrow and into your Sunday. 79 in Washington, Harrisburg, and we're at 78 in Henderson. Clouds are definitely becoming more apparent, and that's coming in from the south, which was to be expected. But we will likely see a few spotty showers. We're not looking at anything overly heavy. In fact, some of us may just notice a few sprinkles popping up. And you'll notice that as we time it out into your evening, some of these showers will be very light. We're not looking at anything overly heavy, any thunderstorm activity. As we approach early Saturday morning, these showers are going to start to become more widespread. So have the rain gear ready to go tomorrow if you have plans. If you are planning on just watching basketball, just keep it inside because we're going to see several rounds coming through. Here we are around Saturday at 3 o'clock. We'll continue to see on and off showers through the day. Most of them should just be light to moderate rainfall. We may have some pockets produce some heavy downpours, but I think for the most part, it's just going to be scattered showers, but likely will stay steady on and off throughout the day. Then as we approach Sunday, we are going to be watching for that threat of severe weather, but there's also going to be a lot of dry time Sunday. That's not necessarily a good thing, but I don't think it's going to be raining all day long. Overnight tonight, we do fall into those lower 60s. We keep it mild with those scattered showers. And then looking at your weekend, we've got scattered showers tomorrow. Sunday, it looks to be scattered throughout the day, but then stronger storms, possibly looking at a severe threat with numerous severe storms as we approach Sunday night and into your Monday. Still working through that timing, which we'll show you coming up, but we are under a 3 out of a 5. The Storm Prediction Center has placed us under that orange shade, which means we could see numerous severe storms Sunday. And I do think we do need to take this seriously. I know we have had several severe threats, but I do think this one could definitely produce severe weather. And in fact, I would be surprised if we don't get severe weather on Sunday. So timing it out for you, For Sunday afternoon, we see dry time. Now, if it stays cloudy and we get rain in here, that's going to diminish that severe threat. But if we keep some sunshine in here, which we're seeing through a good portion of the afternoon, that's going to amplify that severe weather threat. Now, we are seeing some models putting out initial storms out in front of that line. If it does start to break up, that's where we could see an increase of that tornadic threat. Now, if it stays as like primarily a squall line, very organized, we're going to be looking at more of a damaging wind to a hail threat. And it's all dependent on the timing as well. You'll notice this is coming through late, primarily into the evening and into the overnight hours. If it pushes closer to the overnight, I do think that severe threat does diminish. But if we get closer to late afternoon and into the evening, that's where we could see some stronger storms from this line. As we approach Monday morning, we are going to see drier skies. But folks, all modes of severe weather likely. It's a good idea to get that severe weather plan in place once again. I know we've been talking about this, and we are definitely in the season for it. Cooler Monday and Tuesday, and then that next round of potentially severe weather Wednesday.
Thank you, Griffin. Coming up in your health headlines, this Sunday marks World Bipolar Day, a time to raise awareness and reduce the stigma that's often associated with it. Coming up, 5 facts about this disorder. Welcome back. For your health this afternoon, can an AI chatbot be your new therapist? Researchers tested a therapy chatbot and found it was effective at helping patients with depression, anxiety, and eating disorders. Patients would have a text conversation with the AI through a smartphone app. Researchers say it still needs oversight from a real person, but it could help those who don't have access to a mental health professional. Many long COVID patients feel they have to prove their illness is real. A study by the University of Surrey found, despite millions of people suffering from long COVID, patients often feel dismissed and disbelieved by healthcare providers. And that can lead to people feeling less likely to seek treatment. This Sunday is World Bipolar Day. It's a time to raise awareness and reduce the stigma that's often associated with this mental illness. In today's Health Minute, Mandy Gaither has 5 facts about bipolar disorder that experts say everyone should know.
In the U.S., around 6 million adults live with bipolar disorder. Experts say it's a mental illness that many misunderstand. And the first thing to know is that it's more than just one type, including bipolar 1, which is characterized by mania, with symptoms like elevated mood, racing thoughts, increased energy, being more impulsive or taking risks, and irritability. These last for a week or longer. Then there's bipolar 2, which is characterized by a depressive episode.
And a depressive episode is 2 weeks or longer of symptoms such as lack of interest, irritability, reduced energy, and of course, sad mood for more days than not over that 2-week period.
Psychologist Louisa Sylvia with Mass General Hospital says the next thing to know is that most of those diagnosed and treated for bipolar disorder function well and recover from symptoms. Third, Sylvia says it typically takes about a decade to get a correct diagnosis simply because of a lack of knowledge around this disorder. Fourth, she says about half of bipolar disorder patients also face other conditions at the same time, like anxiety, an eating disorder, or substance use disorder. Finally, if you're experiencing symptoms of bipolar disorder, help is out there. Sylvia says primary care physicians can help find a treatment that's right for you, but early detection is important.
The more episodes you actually experience of bipolar disorder, evidence suggests that makes it more difficult to treat.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Still ahead on 44 News at 4, honoring Vietnam veterans. We take a look at the special ceremony at the Evansville Wartime Museum today.
And we are under that threat of severe weather as we head into your Sunday, but something that we're going to definitely need to keep an eye on is the rainfall. And not just for the weekend, but also heading into next week. We've got several rounds of rain that could definitely push these levels up. We're going to break those down for you along with that severe threat and how you can stay prepared. Coming up when 44 News at 4 returns.
Welcome back. New at 4, the Marion VA healthcare system hosted its Vietnam War commemoration ceremony today. This was the 50th commemoration ceremony for those who served in the Vietnam War. At the Evansville Wartime Museum, families and caregivers gathered to honor Vietnam veterans.
Our veterans chose, and a lot of them didn't choose, to make the ultimate sacrifice for us. It is so important to just the ones that are still here, just to give them that honor and that recognition that they deserve.
And admission to the Evansville Wartime Museum was free today for that event. The men's Division II action continues this weekend at the Ford Center. What to know about the big games.
Live, local, late breaking. This is 44 News at 4.
First, at this half hour, we begin with a Storm Team 44 weather alert. The spring season is here, and that means spring showers and, of course, storms. Now, as we've been talking about all week, our main concern is, of course, this Sunday. And in Griffin, I think we're all we're tired of the severe weather, but we definitely need to take it seriously.
Yeah, I know there's probably a lot of you all who may have experienced damage from the last severe storm that we did have a couple weeks ago. And you're like, man, I just got, my insurance out to the house, or, you're still working through those things. And then we've got this next storm system coming through. And storm anxiety is a real thing, but I do think it's important that we just have our plan in place.
Absolutely.
and make sure that we are staying up to date. And we're going to keep you up to date through this weekend. Right now, we do have that threat day in effect for Sunday. So we still have a couple of days. You still have time to do what you need to do to get your plans worked through, make sure that you are at home or you're at least in a place that you can take cover in the event we do have some of those severe storms. But with what the Storm Prediction Center has placed over the tri-state for Sunday, it's an enhanced risk. All modes of severe weather are possible, damaging winds, hail, and tornadoes. And it is looking to be, as we get closer to time, that confidence is growing that we will, in fact, see those severe storms. I know sometimes it's a little iffy, but since we are under that enhanced risk and the ingredients are looking more favorable for severe weather as we get closer to time, I don't think it's going to be likely that that severe threat's just going to completely go away. Now, we could definitely stay in the enhanced risk. That means we could see numerous severe storms, but it's all going to be dependent on several factors Sunday, which we're going to talk more about coming up. But we do want you to be getting ready for that storm system Sunday. Before we get there, we're going to still see some rainfall. Right now, we're primarily dry. You may notice some cloud cover in our skies. It's been a beautiful day, lots of sunshine, highs in the 80s in most areas, but now those clouds are moving in. Even some rain, likely may notice a few sprinkles this evening, but other than that, I think that's going to be about it until we get into the later hours. This is a live look outside our Evansville West camera. Very cloudy, but we're still quiet. Still going to be a good night to do some things if you are planning on getting out and about. And I do think today is going to be your best time to do it, because as we approach tomorrow, showers start pushing in. And then Sunday, late afternoon and evening, that severe weather threat does pop up. Temperatures, there we are. We're still in the upper 70s, lower 80s, feeling great out there. 78 in Santa Claus, 79 in Mount Vernon, and 80 in Madisonville. Winds are breezy, so that has definitely brought in the warmth. Most of us are anywhere between 15 to about 25 miles per hour, and winds are going to stay breezy over the next couple of days. So here's a look at your afternoon and evening. You can see we stay pretty quiet. Clouds are going to definitely stay present, and we may see a few spotty showers. We're going to talk more about what you can expect heading into the weekend, but also take you through that hour-by-hour forecast for your Sunday. Also talk you through the threats as well as timing.
Thank you, Griffin. And as we monitor those storms over the weekend, be sure to download the free Storm Team 44 weather app. Turning to our other top stories at this hour, an Evansville man who is working as a service provider has been charged with child molesting. Now, according to Washington police, officers and Department of Child Services responded to a report of a sexual assault that had taken place at the Eastside Park. The investigation led to police arresting Jonathan Thomas. Police say Thomas was working as a service provider for the child victim, but the agency he worked for was not DCS. A 13-year-old has been arrested in Owensboro in connection to a string of auto thefts and burglaries over the past week, thanks to a tip. Now, officers say the crimes took place on March 20th, March 25th, and March 26th. The teen was taken into custody on a court order on a list of prior offenses. The teen is being held at the Warren County Juvenile Detention Center in Bowling Green, Kentucky. More than 35,000 people are expected to be in downtown Indy this weekend for the Sweet 16 games at Lucas Oil Stadium. But construction in downtown Indy could make traffic jams a traffic nightmare. Eric Graves takes a look at what areas you should avoid while heading to those big games.
Here, there, or just about anywhere you can see construction in downtown Indianapolis. With 35,000 fans coming in this weekend, the people behind these projects want them to know there's a lot going on in the Circle City.
It's hard to really look in any direction and not see a crane.
From Megan Vukasic's office on the 20th floor of the City County building, the Director of Metropolitan Development has a good view of the projects changing the downtown landscape.
It means that, people want to be in Indianapolis, they want to invest in Indianapolis.
What is usually a popular spot during downtown events like the Sweet 16, Georgia Street, is covered in construction right now. As visitors walk past on their way to Lucas Oil Friday, they'll see the new Signia by Hilton Hotel starting to take shape. At its base, the block of Georgia Street will get a brand new look.
And that will transform from what is a street today into a park.
From right now to next spring, Chris Merritt and his team at Merritt Chase are going to change this section of Georgia Street to a pedestrian-only area with trees, lawns, plants, and more. Merritt envisions a more walkable space to more easily connect the south side of downtown to the rest of the area.
People want to be outside, people want to connect and have those kinds of experiences in a downtown.
On the opposite end of the popular block, the CSX building is transforming into a Shinola hotel and music venue. A fence is already up around the building. If fans head to the north end of Mass Ave, they'll find a section of College Avenue set to reopen in April as the second phase of the Bottle Works project gets closer to completion. On the east side, the Cole Motor campus is being built into a residential mixed-use facility. Elsewhere, City Market is getting renovated, and the Henry Street Bridge over the White River just entered a new phase of construction. Just beyond downtown, visitors and neighbors alike will see the more than $2 billion new hospital being built. It's set to open in 2027. The work isn't just what visitors and locals can see through a fence or hear on a construction site. A hundreds of million-dollar redevelopment of the Circle Center Mall is close to starting.
There's a lot of behind-the-scenes work going on a lot of development projects that if you are downtown, you're not going to physically see right now, but that is in the works and that you'll see in the future.
Looking out these windows, it's hard to think of a time where downtown construction was busy.
I think in recent history, yeah, we've definitely seen an uptick in development.
In downtown, Eric Graves, CBS 4 News.
Back here in the tri-state, the finals for the men's Division II championship has been set. It will be Nova Southeastern taking on California State Dominguez Hills. Tip-off is set for 2 p.m. at the Ford Center. Tickets are available at the Ford Center box office and on Ticketmaster.com. And if you aren't able to make it to the Ford Center, you can watch the championship game right here on 44 News. In the wake of the deadly D.C. midair collision, the FAA is out with brand new requirements. Plus, a woman accused of holding her stepson captive for 2 decades is back in court. Hear the message from the victim's biological mother. New today, the FAA says a key safety system will now be required to be activated around Washington, D.C. for all planes. This comes after the deadly midair collision in January. Now, the acting head of the FAA and the general overseeing U.S. Army aviation were in the hot seat on Capitol Hill today. Chris Van Cleve reports.
Clearly, something was missed.
Acting FAA Administrator Chris Rushlow wasted no time acknowledging what the Senate Commerce Committee and the NTSB already knew. There were so many close calls around Washington Reagan National Airport over the last 13 years. The FAA should have saw the danger before January's midair collision killed 67 people.
Something was missed at the DCA crash. I take that seriously. I take that upon myself.
For the first time, the FAA and Army faced lawmakers.
You're saying we are at risk. Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying our air traffic system needs modernization. I can assure you the flying public, to fly is safe.
The Black Hawk helicopter was flying with a safety system that can broadcast its position turned off, something that is not unusual. NTSB Chair Jennifer Hamady told senators divers continue searching the Potomac for wreckage and personal effects, telling reporters the issues go beyond the FAA.
I wouldn't just put that on the FAA. I'd also put that on the Army.
This has been the hardest 2 months of my life.
Tim Lilly's son Sam was the plane's first officer.
What keeps us moving forward is that we're going to ensure that no other family has to go through what we've had to go through.
A fight for change that's only just beginning. Chris Van Cleve, CBS News.
And now, Storm Team 44, powered by Bracket Heating, Air, and Plumbing.
All right, so as we approach the weekend, things are going to get dicey, and we are looking at that threat of severe weather. And as we continue to get more model data in, it is looking like we will, in fact, see severe weather on Sunday. We still need to work through the timing as well as the threats, but I would anticipate all modes of severe weather, damaging winds, hail, tornadoes, even heavy rainfall. And we are likely going to see a good amount of rainfall as we approach the next 7 days. So definitely be prepared for that extended forecast to look a little soggy, which we will talk you through. Right now, though, we are staying dry. We've got warm conditions out there. It's been a fantastic Friday. Hopefully you've been able to enjoy it. I mean, you can have the tank tops, the short shorts on, the flip-flops, but as we approach the weekend, we're going to have to pull the rain gear out, especially if we're going to be out and about. We are starting to see more cloud cover, and you're going to notice that as we approach the evening. And some of those clouds may put off a few sprinkles, light showers. I think that's going to be about it. But it shouldn't be anything heavy for us. Southerly winds coming in at 17 miles per hour, ushering in that warm air that you are feeling. 79 in Washington, 79 in Harrisburg, and we're at 78 in Henderson. So there's those spotty showers. Some of them will be pretty light. Might not even see any rainfall in your area. As we do continue into the overnight hours, it's going to be very sporadic. As we approach Saturday morning, here we are around 8 o'clock. Those showers look to be a little bit more widespread. And I do think we'll see that as we approach much of your Saturday. We're going to see on and off showers. Most of them are going to be light to moderate rainfall, but we may have some pockets produce some heavier downpours, potentially some rumbles of thunder, but we're not looking at any severe weather for your Saturday. It is primarily just going to be typical rainfall, but it will likely impact us through a good portion of the day. So if you have plans to be outside, I would definitely be mindful that it's likely going to rain for most of the day. As we approach Saturday night and into Sunday, we start to see some breaks, and you're going to notice more breaks Sunday, and that is likely going to be the fuel that we could see for those severe storms. Now, overnight tonight, we've got those scattered showers. It does look to be very light, mild temperatures, winds coming in out of the south, keeping it very mild out there. Now, looking at the weekend, tomorrow, scattered showers, high still right around 70. We will see a scattering of showers Sunday, but it looks to be primarily dry, and we're going to see some windows of sunshine that could help fuel those storms later in the day and into your evening. Then Monday, we get cooler, mostly cloudy with some lingering chances, but it's definitely going to change up quite a bit after that front pushes through. So let's get you to Sunday. You can see a good portion of the day we're dry, maybe a few sporadic showers. This is all going to really impact what we do see Sunday night. So if we see a lot of cloud cover and rainfall, that's likely going to lessen the threat. But if we do start to see more sunshine, which we're seeing in this model in particular, out in front of that line, that could definitely fuel some of those storms, likely increase the tornado threat. You'll see this line starts to push through. Now, if we also see a breakage of cells rather than an organized line, that also increases that tornado threat. Right now, the timing looks to be late afternoon and into your evening. Here we are around 9 o'clock. And then it does look to pretty much be out of here by 2 o'clock in the morning. That is just one model, but I do think the timing's looking to be likely late afternoon and into your evening, so that's when you do need to plan for it. We could likely see a little bit of a shift, but I don't think it's going to be a huge adjustment. Then Monday, while we will see a good amount of cloud cover, it is going to be primarily dry. Here's your threats. They are pretty much medium threats right now: strong winds, tornadoes, hail, and heavy rain. Really not looking at one over the other at this point, but I would go ahead, have that plan in place, make sure you have a way to get watches and warnings. We will continue to keep you up to date throughout the weekend, so we will try to calm your fears and try to keep you up to date of what you're going to expect in your area. It does get cooler, but then Wednesday we're looking at another potential threat of severe weather. So Elegance, spring definitely here in the tri-state. And not only are we talking about severe weather threats in the next 7 days, but lots of rainfall.